hopefully will not be sequestered through July. Maybe we'll cancel some of these and do them in person, or maybe we'll keep them on Zoom because everybody's so used to it. If you haven't downloaded the handout, which is a 2-page handout, looks like this. If you printed it out on one sheet, for this class, you can go to jakeair.weebly.com at the top of the share, and then go to iPhone classes and find this class and click on handout, and then the PDF will pop up and you can print it. So we're going to now begin the content. This is about the Notes app on your iPhone. The Notes app is something that's very useful. I just want to point out to you, if you look right here at the top, I've got 860 notes on my phone, and it's organized into many folders, which you can add to your Notes app. Now, if you haven't used Notes, you probably don't have anything, or you may have something that looks like this. You have a Notes folder and it says Notes and there's 0 things in it, and it's on my phone. So what you can do is go down to the bottom and click on New Folder and create new folders, name them, and give them categories so you can keep track of your notes, and then you can add notes. So I happen to be in a note called iPhone Classes that's the folder. Up here it says iPhone Classes, and here's a list of all my folders. And I have iPhone, and I have sub folders here: iPhone Classes, iPhone iOS, so on, and then other categories of things I have relating to just anything. So anytime I have a note to write down or information I want to store, I can store it in my notes, and it's always going to be available to me. And that's why I think this is such a fantastic app that is underutilized. So we're going to go back to, I'm going to go up here to where it says iPhone Classes, open up that folder, and I've got just a whole list of notes relating to the iPhone Classes. And I'm going to open up one particular note that I have right now, and that's this one that shows the folder app. And then now I'm going to show you how you can use the iPhone Notes app. So if you're in this Folders app and you haven't created a new folder, you can, or you can just tap on the Notes one. Now, my Notes one says 0. I don't have anything in Notes because I put them in other categories. So if you tap on your Notes, you'll get something that looks like this. And then you can create a new note by tapping down here at the bottom on this little square with a pencil in it. If you tap on that little square with the pencil in it, it'll create a brand new note for you, and you can start writing your notes. But while I'm teaching this class, I suggest you just watch and don't try to do it because unless you're really good at multitasking, you probably can't do it and play with your phone at the same time and listen to me and so on. So just soak this in and then use the handout to remind you of all the things I told you today. So as a motivation, let me show you some of the things that you can put into notes. You can put in text, of course. So this is just text, ordinary text. However, you can modify the text. You notice here, I crossed out the word notion and put in the word nation. You can modify the text, and I'll show you how to do all of that. You can indent text. So this text is indented to make it stand out, or you could maybe set the whole thing in parentheses, or not parentheses, in italics if you want. You can create lists. Here's just a list of things. That's just text in the list, but you can also then put different symbols in front of it automatically. So you can actually have it put little circles, dots, or dashes, or you can actually have it number the list. And when you number the list and you add something in the middle of the list, it'll renumber everything automatically. You can also make a checklist. So if you have a checklist here, you can tap on any.
Hi, good morning, Jose. Hi.
Okay, I'll find out who that is that's speaking and get them off.
Okay, just mute all.
I see who it is. We're good.
Okay, you can create tables. So if you want a table, and you can have multiple columns in the table. So here I have tables a table lists items, and the two columns are, you can see how many of each I have and what the item is. You can also scan a document. So here I've scanned the handout for this class today, and it puts it in the note. So you can have a note that has some scanned documents. You can also create a drawing that you write with your finger on the screen. And this is a floor plan of my living room. And then I have photos of my living room. This is the before picture at the bottom. Then we threw away all that furniture and redid the whole living room. You can see the lower screen is more like the floor plan that I just drew. You can also use your camera to take a picture of something and put the picture directly into the note at this time. So let's say you're in a furniture store, if you ever get back to furniture stores or anything, and you saw a piece of furniture you'd like, you can take a picture of it, put it in the note right away. You can draw a sketch of where you might want to place it in the room, and so on. So there are a number of things you can do. You can take a picture with the camera, or you can go to your Photos app and take pictures. So now I'm going to take this same note, except this time it's all blank, and we're going to fill it in sort of like I did with the one I just showed you, and demonstrate how to do this. So here, let's talk about text first. Now I have shortcuts, and I will show you shortcuts later if we have time. I hope we do. Later on we'll have shortcuts, and we'll tell you how to do this. So if I type in the word PDH, for example, and tap the space bar, it expands to please don't hesitate. That's what the PDH stands for. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any further questions. So just to give you an example, if I type the word Getty, I get the entire Gettysburg Address, which will fill this whole screen 3 times over. So I'm not going to demonstrate that right now. I'll do that maybe later. So anyway, there is some text I just typed, but I was too lazy to type it, so I just used my shortcut. But I could, I say, one of the things I use all the time is please let me know. So I say, please let me, PLM, spacebar, and it says, please let me know. So, because I'm too lazy to type that whole thing every time. So here's some text I typed in. And if I hold my finger, and this is a really cool feature. If you don't know about this, this works everywhere, not just in notes. But if you hold your finger down here on the space bar, down at the bottom on your screen, on the keyboard, if you hold your finger on it, watch what happens to the letters on the keyboard. They all go blank. Now, if you direct your attention back up to the cursor, you notice now that I can move the cursor by moving my finger. You can't see me, but I'm moving my finger all around the keyboard, not the screen where the cursor is. I'm moving it just around the keyboard, but the cursor is showing up, and I can expand it and so on. I'll just tap there and undo it. So if I hold my finger on the space bar again, okay, I can move the cursor anywhere I want. If I press a little harder, or just double tap, I can double tap on the screen itself. And then if I hold my finger on the space bar, I can, trying to get it to select. I think if I just select first, like that, and then expand by using my finger on the little handles. So you see the little handles on up here next to these two handles. If I grab those little handles, I can move the selection, and then I can select text. And when I select the text, I can then do things to that text. I can make it italic. I can make it underline. I can make it bold. I can do anything I want. How do I do that? There are 2 ways of doing it. If I go up here to this little pop-up and tap on BIU, that stands for bold, italicized, underline. If I tap on that, it gives me a number of options. I can make the whole thing bold, italic, underline, or strike through. So let's say I just want to do please don't hesitate to contact me, make that bold. So I'll go over here and I'll tap on bold, and it just made that part of it bold. Or I could make it italic, or I can make it underline, or I could strike through it, or I can do all of them. I can do bold, underline, italic, strike through. Turn them all off. Underline is still on, italic is still on. So you have these options of for editing, and anything you type when you've got it highlighted. So if I wanted to change the word further to more, I just highlight it and I'll type M-O-R-E, and then you notice it replaced further with more. That's cool. And if I want to undo that, if I put 3 fingers anywhere on the screen and swipe to the left, you couldn't see me do that, but if I put 3 fingers on the screen and swipe to the left, it did an undo. The other way you can do an undo is just pick up the phone and give it a little shake. And if you give it a little shake, the undo will pop up. And then if you tap the undo button, it'll undo the last thing you did. So if I tap on that, the last thing I did was change the italics to normal. And now I redid them. So if I wanted to redo it, I can go down here and say redo typing, and that will change it back. So these are things you can do, and you can do this not only in the Notes app, but you can do this in email, messages, any place you have the keyboard. You can actually play with the text and do other things with it. So I'm going to move on to other things that we can do. For instance, we can indent text. So let me just give you an example of that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type in some text. I'll put in, please don't hesitate. Please, PDH, please don't hesitate to contact me. Now, let's say I want to indent that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to this toolbar right above the keyboard. Now, if you don't have the toolbar, maybe you have this big plus sign right here. And if you tap on that plus sign, it becomes a toolbar. Now, that toolbar is only available in the Notes app, so it's not going to be in email or text or any other app. This toolbar is strictly the toolbar for the Notes app. So that's something that is a little different about the Notes app. It does have special things. And if I go down here to this big A, little a, and of course the cursor moved to the wrong place. Let me go over here and indent that. Okay, now I'm going to tap on the big A, little a, and now I get this thing that pops up, and it gives me some options. And one of them down here is the indent. You see, it's a little right arrow down here at the bottom. It says indent. Well, it doesn't say indent, but it's got a little paragraph with a little right arrow. So if I tap on that, watch what happens to that text up there. See, it indented it. If I tap it again, it'll indent it again even further. So this is one way to indent text, make it stand out. And if I want to undent it, I just tap on the one next to it here and it'll go back to the way it was before. So there I can indent. So I just want to make you aware of this. And I tap this little X here, it'll get rid of this pop-up so I have the keyboard back. Now, here's a list I made. That's just a very simple list, but I could make it, let's make some other lists. So I'm gonna copy that list. I'm gonna select it all and I'm gonna hit the copy button up here. I'm gonna copy that list, and I'll just copy it down here. And I'll paste it. So now I've got a copy of that. So I'm gonna select this list. I'm gonna go back here to my little A, big A. And now I've got some options, and you notice down here at the bottom, I can make this list a bulleted list, a hyphen list, or a numbered list. So if I tap on the bulleted list, I get a bulleted list. If I tap on the hyphenated, it becomes hyphenated. If it becomes number, it becomes numbered. So if I have the list now, and let me say I want to add something after cherries. So I'm going to hit the carriage return, and you notice it'll renumber everything and give me a new number 4. That I can now type in, bagels. Okay, so you can keep the list numbered, and then if I go back here, I can change it back to hyphen or dash or numbered. So one of the neat things I can do. That's pretty handy if you want a numbered list and you want to keep the numbers always consecutive. Now, let's say I want a checklist instead. Maybe I want this to be my shopping list. So I'm going to tap on this little checkbox right here, and that makes that into a shopping list. And then I can just, as I go shopping, I can just tap each one of these things that I bought. And as I buy them, or maybe these are things that I want to buy, in which case, as I buy them in the store, I can untap them. So it depends on how you want to use it. That's up to you. But the point is that you can check these various things. And let's say you have a huge list and they're all checked, you want to uncheck them all at once. All you have to do is change it to some other kind of list. Maybe make it a bulleted list and then go back to making a checklist, and now they'll all be cleared. So that's a quick way to clear the list. So I just demonstrated checklist, so I don't have to do it again. But let me change this back to, just to keep this thing consistent. I'm going to select all this, and then I'm going to change this to bulleted. And now let's go to make this a checklist, just to keep my thing. Okay, so there we did the checklist. Now let's make a table. Here is a list of things, but I want to make it into a table. So I'm going to select everything that I want to make into a table, and then I'm going to tap on this table button here. You see this little table button? And if I tap on that, it makes it into a table. And you can see that, oh, by the way, let me just point out something. There's a done button up here. The only thing the done button does is get rid of the keyboard. It doesn't save the note. The note automatically saves, and it doesn't do anything but get rid of the keyboard. So if you want to clear the keyboard out of the way, type done. Now, I don't know why they chose to call it done, because done to me implies that you're finished and you want to get out, but that's not what this means. But anyway, now I've got this table, you can see, and the first column is the things that I just entered. But let's say that I want to insert another column, or I want to move the second column over to where the first column is. So if I tap on any place in the column, you notice there's a little, right above my finger here, you notice there's a little dot, dot, dot in a rectangle. And if I grab that, I can move the column over to the left. And so now I just swapped it. I can move the column anywhere I want, or I can move the row. So if I wanted to take the apples row, I'll tap over here on that little thing on the left. And if I can get my finger in there to do it. Here, come on. Cooperate. There it goes. Oh, just by moving it. So I can just move it up and down. And so now I moved apples down below. And if I wanted to add more items or more columns, I can go here and tap the top and highlight the whole column. And then if I go over here to the right of this pop-up, you see this little right arrow over here? Or I can swipe left to right on it and go like that, in which case I will get add column or delete column. So if I hit add column, it added another column to the right, and now I've got 3 columns. The berries and cherries and everything are in the middle column, and now here I can put down the price. So this one, let's say I want to add a column above. It won't let me add one above. So let me get this out of the way. But it will, not a column, a row. But now once I have this row, I should be able to move it up above. So now I can say item, name this item, and we can name this cost. And then I can say berries. And I can also highlight these, and let's make them bold so that the title is bold. Okay, so now the berries are, $3, and cherries are $5, and so on. And then I can put how many I want. Maybe I want 1 dozen berries, or 1 pound, or whatever. Oops. Change it. That's what happens when you do spelling check or correction and you don't catch it. They corrected it to Fox. And so on. You can add things to this. And the beauty of it is when you populate this whole thing, and I'm going to populate it by just copying all this stuff, copy, and I'm just going to paste because I'm too lazy to type all that stuff. Paste. Okay. Oops. Undo. Undo typing. Paste down here. Okay, so now I've got all these items, and maybe I can put some more costs in here. $7. Now this is not a spreadsheet. You cannot sum the columns, and you cannot do any fancy things with these columns. So don't expect this to be an Excel spreadsheet. It is not. But what I also want to point out is if I tap anywhere in the table, and then I go down here to this little table button that was in the toolbar, you notice now it has a dot, dot, dot in it. And if I tap now on that table button, because I'm inside the table, this only should, that little dot, dot, dot in the circle shows up because I'm in the table. If I tap outside the table, that little black dot disappeared. But if I'm in the table, the black dot appears, and I tap on that, and now up pops up some options for me. I can copy the table into the clipboard and then paste it somewhere else, maybe into an email. I can share the table, send it to somebody. So if I wanted to send this table in an email, I could hit share table and then email it. And there it is. It popped up right there and populated the email ready to send. That table I just created. I'm going to delete that draft, go back to my table. I can go here and I can convert the table back to text. So if I tap table, convert to text right here, I can convert it to text, and now it's converted into text, and it's separated by tabs, not spaces. It's separated by tabs, and so when you send it to somebody, there'll be tab separated items. So if you want to create tab separated variables or tab separated items, you can do that by creating the table. And when you're done with the table, just convert the whole table to text, and you'll have tab separated items. And if I go back and select these all again, and then tap on the, go back here and tap on the table button, convert it, should convert it back to a table. Yep, it did. Now, some reason it jumped way down here, but so it converted it back to a table for me. However, I didn't select the items and costs, so it didn't catch those. So let me do an undo. Okay, and now let me select those as well, and then convert this to a, I didn't have the keyboard there, so I couldn't do it. Convert to a table. And now if I convert the table back to text, well, you notice it incorporated the items and costs in the table this time. However, it put them in the wrong place. So my only option here now is to cut them and paste them in the right place, which is kind of klutzy, but you can do it. Paste. Okay, so I restored my table. So anyway, the table is a very powerful thing to have if you ever want columns of stuff in your notes. You can do it very easily with this. Now, let's say you want to scan a document and have scanned documents, and I'm going to scan the handout so you can see what this is. So I'm going to hit the, I'm going to go right here, and that's where I want to put it. And then I'm going to tap on the little camera down here. See the camera underneath the, or right above my finger. And if I tap on the camera, I have three options. I can choose a photo or video from my Photos app, or I can take a photo right now, or I can scan the document. You say, what's the difference between scan the document and take a photo of it? Well, a scan the document will actually straighten it out for you. So I'm going to take a picture of this, or I'm going to scan rather the handout. I'm going to tap on scan documents, and now it opens up the camera. And you notice now I'm not right overhead, because if I go overhead, I create a shadow. You can see the shadow of my iPhone on the document. So if I move off like this, I don't have the shadow, but it's no longer straight. But watch what happens when I hit the shutter release button. Okay, it puts little corners on it, and I can drag the corners if they're not in the right place, but they happen to be just in the right place. So I'm going to tap on keep scan in the lower right corner. Okay, and now it's squared it up and created, now it's ready for the next, and I'll turn it over and I'll do it again. Let's do here. Okay, and keep scan. Okay, and now I'm done. So it says save to. I'm going to tap on save to. And what did it do? It put in to my document those 2 pages. And I could scan as many pages as I want. So if you wanted to incorporate pages into a note, you can do that, just like I did on the previous one. And here I've done it. Now let's say I want to insert a photo. I have a photo in here. So it's very easy. You just go here and you tap on, I just created these headings. You don't have to have those headings, of course. but this is just for an example. So I created the heading photos, and now I'm going to put this photo in here. So I'm going to tap on photos. I'm going to choose a photo from my camera roll here. Let's take a picture, find some photo, maybe this photo of this Apple Watch, hit add, and voila, now I'm done. So now I've got, I guess I highlighted too many things and I got more than I wanted, which is okay because I can always tap over here and delete them by just hitting the backspace key. So I'm gonna, let me see if I can delete this one. I got two more here that I didn't want. Okay, tap, delete that one. And let's go over here and delete that one. Okay, so now I've got a photo in here of that I happen to have in my photos. Now, if I want to take a picture directly, I've got Oscar the Grouch here sitting on my table, so I'm going to take a photo. I opened up my camera app. There's Oscar. He's sitting there. I'm going to go 2 times. I'm going to zoom in on him. Let's put him over here and take a picture of him. And down at the bottom right, it says use photo. I tapped use photo, and there's the photo in my note. So now I created a note that has a photo that I took out of my photos and one that I just took from the camera directly without having to put it in my photos. And that's what you can do. So you can have one note that has all this stuff in it. How cool is that? Now, let's do a drawing. Okay, so I'm going to tap on the little drawing symbol down here, or if I had the keyboard up, it would be right up here. You see that little pen or pencil-like thing? So I'm going to tap on that, and now it gives me a bunch of tools down at the bottom. I have a pencil down here, I have a magic marker, I have a pen, I have an eraser, I have a lasso tool, and I have a ruler or a straight edge, and I have a color option. So I can choose the color of the things I want. So let's say I wanted to draw something with the magic marker, and right now it's blue. And if I go up here and put my finger on the screen, let's see, tap on here, and where is it? Oh, I think I have to. As soon as I tap up there, it stops becoming a drawing tool. So let me see how this works. Change the color to red. Close that off. Now, why isn't it letting me draw? It should have opened up a little draw window for me. Worked before because I've done drawings. Okay, well, let's just, I'm going to go and do a new note just from scratch and show the drawing tool there. Okay, so there I can draw. That's not very useful, so I'm going to go up here, and here's the undo button right up here at the top. Tap the undo button, start over. So if I want to draw a rectangle, I can draw a rectangle, looks like that. That's a pretty crummy looking rectangle. If I want it to look nice, if I hold my finger when I'm finished drawing, it'll square it up. So I'm going to draw it, and I'm going to hold my finger there and let go. And you notice it made a nice squared off rectangle. Let me erase those. Let's make a circle. Well, that's a pretty crappy circle, but if I make a nice circle and hold my finger on it, it made a nice circle out of it. Okay, so I can make circles. I can make straight lines. Oh, that's not a very good straight line, but if I hold my finger on it, it becomes straight. Okay, so if I change the color to purple and draw another one and hold my finger on it, it'll become straight. And let's do, oh, I can play tic-tac-toe. So let's say that I want to now move some of these things around because they're not in the right place. I'm going to go down here to my lasso tool. That's this lasso tool here. And I'm going to tap on it. And now if I just draw a little circle around this, just draw a little circle around this orange line. You notice it selected the whole line. And now if I put my finger on it, I can move it, just that line. Okay, well, what if I wanted to move the two orange lines? So now I'm going to use the lasso tool to lasso both of them. And what I did is I just moved my finger around both of them like that, and it selected both of them. Now if I put my finger on it, I can move them both together as one unit. Or what if I wanted to move this purple and orange line down here? I can select just those two, and now I can move the orange and the purple line as one unit. So you can be very selective. And when I was laying out a little furniture diagram that I showed you before, that's what I did is let me undo all this. So let's say I wanted to create two identical chairs. I drew a circle. I want to hold the circle, so I made it round. So there's a circle. Then I tap on and select that circle, and then I tap on it, and it says duplicate. So now I've created a copy of it, and I moved the copy over here, and now I've got two circles, and those were my little chairs that I had in my living room. And if I wanted to move the chair one chair at a time, I can select it. But if I want both chairs, if I want to move both chairs together, then I can put both together by selecting them both and then moving them around. And you can erase. So if I hit the erase key, I can just erase part of it. Or if I hold this in here, erase object, and tap on it, it'll erase the entire object. If I want to draw a straight, bunch of parallel straight lines, I'll tap on the ruler down here. Tap on the ruler. There's the ruler. I can rotate the ruler with two fingers. I'm rotating the ruler with two fingers, and now I can take my pen and draw a line along that and slide this, and it stays parallel. So I can draw another one here, another one here. Oops, that one didn't work. So because I moved. Okay, and so I can let's draw the orange one, and we'll turn this ruler, and we'll draw some parallel. Oops, that wasn't. My finger went over the ruler instead of along the ruler, and that's why it went off the edge there. So now I've got a bunch of parallel lines. I can tap on the ruler down here and get rid of it. And now I've got these lines, and I can, again, do the selection. So if I wanted to move just the orange ones, I'll select just the orange ones and move them. Or if I want to select just the purple ones, I can move them. Or if I want to select just the right-hand orange and purple, I can just select those two and move those away. So this is not Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator by any means, but it is something if you want to do some sketches very quickly, you can do that. And I am now going to, so somewhere in this is that picture, and I can find it because the picture should show up. There it is. It's a new note. You notice on the right here, it actually gives me an example of something that I have in the note if there's a picture of it. So I was able to find that very quickly. And if I want to delete that note, which I do, I can tap up here in the ... and then tap delete. And now that note is gone. Now the note is saved in a folder called deleted. So if I go back to here to my folders, go all the way to the bottom, it says recently deleted. And so I have 49 that I recently deleted, and it'll keep these for about 30 days, or maybe forever, I don't know. No, it says 30 days. So it'll keep them for 30 days. So if you change your mind the next 30 days, you can recover them. So let's go back to iPhone classes and demo. Now, why I couldn't add the drawing here, I don't know. Let me see. It's not being cooperative, and maybe you have to start with a blank one. I didn't always have to start with a blank one, but so for some reason it doesn't like to create a note in the middle of something.
Jake, there was a question about how to label or title your drawing in your notes.
Oh, well, yeah, you would just write some text underneath a drawing or underneath a a photo or above a photo, because you can insert text anywhere you want. So I can say this is Oscar the Grouch. Type it right here, or below. I can go down here to the drawing, added some spaces, and type Oscar the Grouch. Oscar here. So you can label things that way. Now, if you want to write on the note, on the drawing itself, you can't do it. You can do it in photos, but not in notes. If you get into photos, you can actually add text onto photos, and you can add other effects onto photos. But that's in the photos class, and I'm not covering that today. So this is this demo that I just did, and if I go up here and I'm going to select all of this stuff because I really don't want it in here, I'm going to hit the backspace button down on the keyboard. Oops. See, I got everything that I want to delete. Okay, I hit the backspace, and now I deleted all that stuff. And if I hit the shake the phone, let's see, will it undo? Will it bring it all back? Yeah, it did. Okay. So the way to delete something is just to select it all and hit the backspace button on the keyboard. Okay, I'll go back and clean that up later. Now let's look at some other things we have here. Now this is, you notice I have a list here in my iPhone classes folder, and I've got a bunch of things in the top here that say pinned. See, it says pinned, and down here it says notes. Now what that means is any note that you want to have on the top of the list, you want to pin it up there. So for instance, if I want to pin this iPhone review and put it up in the top section, or maybe something down here. Maybe I want new note, see this new note yesterday, no additional text. Okay, let's say I want to put that up at top. If I swipe to the right, it has a little pin. If I tap on that pin, now it moved it up to the pinned area. So here it is. What's in it? Nothing. Okay, so I can delete it. How do I delete it? I can swipe to the left and tap on the little delete button, or I can swipe it all the way to the left, and it'll delete it all in one fell swoop. Does it? No, it doesn't do it on this. You can do that for emails, I think. Okay, so I can delete it. So now it's gone. So if I want to move things up and put them in the pinned area, they will move up there. Shopping list, swipe to the left. I'm sorry, swipe left to right, tap on the pinned, and now it puts the shopping list up here. There it is. If I unpin it, see now the little pin has a line through it. I tap unpin, now it puts the shopping list back down where it was to begin with. What else can we do here? We can share folders, we can select notes, we can sort the notes in different order. We can sort them by A to Z, Z to A, title, date created, or date edited. So you can choose whatever method you want to use to sort your notes. You can add a folder. You can move this folder to another folder or another place in the folder list. You can rename a folder and so on. If I tap and open up a particular note and tap that little ... up here, this is what I was using as an example before. If I tap up here in the upper right corner, there's things I can do. I can add a scan. Well, we know how to do that from the other method using the camera. I can unpin this note because this one's pinned. If it was unpinned now, I could pin it. I can lock the note, which means no one else can open it unless they know the password. You create a password for all your notes, the same password for all your notes, and that way it shows up as locked. You want to make sure the title is something that is not secure or secret. So the title can be something that you can read, but then the rest of the body of the note would be the thing you want to lock. Or I can tap delete. Or I can share the note. So if I want to share this note, tap on share and go to mail, for example, and now it put the note in my email, and then when the person receives it, if they tap on this little rectangle you see here, when they receive this, it'll open it up and put it in their notes. So that's why you can share a note with somebody else. What else can we do? We can send a copy to note to somebody. We can find something within a note. So if you have some text in a very long note and you want to find it, you tap find in note. You can move a note to a different folder, or you can add lines or grids to the note. So if you want to make a drawing, you can have a grid to help you. And that would look like, let's see, of course, I'm not doing very well trying to get this drawing to work, but let me add the grid and see what it would get. Lines and grids. Okay, I want fine line and grid. There's the fine line and grid. Now if I add now let's see if can I draw on that grid? Yeah, okay. Once I create the grid, I can draw on it. So that may be one way to overcome the problem I had before, is to enable grids, and then you can draw on the grid, and then you can get rid of the grid if you don't want it anymore. Okay, so I've covered notes very quickly. I promised you that I would tell you how to do things like text replacement. So if I create a new note, for example, and I type Getty, my text replacement for Getty is the Gettysburg Address. Well, I don't want it to be uppercase like that, so I'll just type Getty here. And then I'll go down here and type it again. And this time I'm going to hit the space bar and I get the entire Gettysburg Address because I have a shortcut for that. Well, I told you I had shortcuts, so I have a shortcut for my name. My name is Jake Jacobs. If I type JJ space, I get my name. If I type Jake Weebly, JW, I get my email or my website. If I type JC, I get my Cox email address. And if I type the first few letters of my address, I'll get my address. Or if I type Jake's phone, JP, I get my phone number. Or please let me know, PLM. You can create all kinds of fun things, the things that you write all the time, instead of having to type them out over and over again. Thank you very much, TYV. Thank you very. I'm always saying thank you very much, so I say TYV. Thank you very much, or TY is thank you, or happy birthday, HBD. Happy birthday, and I even put a little cake in there. So you can create these shortcuts. And the way you create the shortcut is you go to your settings general keyboard, and a quick way to do that is if you hold your finger down here on the emoji or the globe button down here in the lower left corner, just hold your finger on it and you slide your finger up to set keyboard settings. It'll take you to keyboard settings directly. Otherwise, you have to go to settings general keyboards, and then you go to text replacement. Now, when you go to text replacement, you'll get a list of all your text replacements. If you don't have any, you probably have On My Way. They gave you one for free called On My Way, but I've added, probably a couple hundred text replacements, some of which I even remember to use. Well, there's the one that they gave you for free, On My Way. That's probably the only one you have if you haven't used text replacement. Like if I want the infinity sign, I just type OO and I get the infinity sign because I went and found someplace that had the infinity sign. Or if I want a picture of a book, I type P book and I get a picture of a book instead of going to the emoji. I can go to the emoji and do that. And by the way, the emoji now, you can do a search for emoji, which I'll demonstrate in a sec. So these are all the shortcuts that I have. So let's say you want to create a shortcut. So you're going to go up here to the plus button and hit that plus button. And then you're going to type in the phrase that you want. Maybe you type in your phone number or your name or your email address. So I'm going to type in, type in my name. And now I want to put the shortcut for it. So I would type in, JJ, for example. Okay, so there is how I would create the shortcut JJ for Jake Jacobs. Well, I already have that shortcut, so I'm not going to save it. But then if I wanted to, I would hit the save button up here, and it would save this shortcut, this phrase using this shortcut. So I could create any shortcuts I want. And I suggest you go through your emails and your text messages and see what things are you writing over and over again, and you're tired of writing them and you want a shortcut for it. Just create a shortcut for it. Certainly your email address, your name, your physical address, a website that you go to a lot, a phrase that you use all the time. Those are all good candidates. You can see the types of things I have. Like I'm always using the word iPhone because I'm typing iPhone all the time. So IP, if I type IP, I get iPhone, and so on. And so here's just a list of all the different things that you can do. Get some examples. I have exponents, so if I ever need to write an exponent or a subscript, I created those as well, and I got some other symbols. But the sky's the limit, and you can see how many I've gotten. I do remember a lot of them. So if I go back to, I'm in the keyboard. Let's go back to this. So if I go back here, and if I wanted the del character, I type del, or DL, yeah, del character, beta. If I wanted the, or lowercase beta. Uppercase beta looks like a B. If I wanted an exponent, so if I wanted x squared, I'll type exp2, and I get a little square. And then I can go over here, get rid of the space, and now I've got x squared. So you can create all kinds of neat little shortcuts. Now, the first part of the handout is how to use the keyboard. And I talked about some of these things, and actually I talked about most of them. But let me just talk about a few other things. You notice as I'm scrolling up and down in this list, or in this note, on the right-hand side, you see this gray bar. See the gray bar on the right that's going up and down? And if I had a really long note, let me put a few more Gettys in here. So I have the Gettysburg Address multiple times. Okay, now the note's really long. So let's hit done. Now when I scroll up and down, okay, see the little bar down here on the right that's going up and down? Okay, now if I hold my finger on that bar, go over here, and first I have to get the bar to show up. And the way to get the bar to show up is just move the cursor up and down. And once it shows up, if you let go, it'll disappear. But if I move it up and down, now you see there's the bar right here. So there's the bar. If I hold my finger on the bar, it becomes wider. And now if I slide my finger, I'm sliding my finger along the bar, I can scroll through the whole document very quickly just by sliding my finger up and down. You don't see it. My finger is going up and down on that bar itself. That is really handy for going through lists of things, such as your list of emails, your contact list. Although the contact list has an index, so that may not be a good idea. But within an email itself, you have a big long email and you want to scroll through it. You can do that by just scrolling a little bit manually until you see that bar, and then putting your finger on it and going up and down. I'm going to delete this whole note right here because it had a lot of stuff in it. Okay. You can search within a note or search all your notes. And if you put multiple search words in, it'll find those words. They don't have to be next to each other in the note. So if you know you have a note that has the word iPhone and pizza, but they're not, it doesn't say iPhone pizza, but iPhone's over here and pizza somewhere else, it'll still find all the notes that have the word iPhone and pizza somewhere in there. Just put a space between them and you'll be able to find it. So you can find notes that way. So if you go up here to search, you notice you have some other options. You can search notes with drawings. You can search notes with checklists, block notes, shared notes, and so on. Shared notes is anytime you write a note, it automatically gets shared with somebody else that you're sharing it with in real time. Notes with scanned documents. So if I tap on that, I should get a list of all the notes with scanned documents. There are 2 of them that have scanned documents in it. If I want all the notes that have drawings, okay, I have lots of notes with drawings. Okay, but it lets me see all my notes with drawings in one fell swoop. That's pretty handy. As I said, we can move a note to another folder. So if I have this demo here and I wanted to move it, I can tap up here and say, move the note. And then it gives me a list of all the places I could put it. Now you notice that the one here that says iPhone classes, that's where it's coming from. So I can't move it to itself, but I could move it to some other folder by just tapping it, and it'll immediately move that particular note to another folder. I don't want to do that because then I'll have to go find it and put it back. In general, if you want to, we talked about editing. So if you tap, you can place the cursor right here. If I double tap, it'll select the word. If I triple tap, it'll select the entire paragraph. Once I select a paragraph, I can change the selection handle to make it bigger or smaller. And then if I type something else right now, it will replace that with whatever I type. So if I type X, it'll replace all that text that's highlighted with X. Whoop, there it is. Again, if I want to undo it, I can put 3 fingers down. You can't see me, but I put 3 fingers somewhere on the screen and swipe to the left, and I get it back. Or if I swipe to the right, it'll redo. If you hold 3 fingers on the screen, you get a pop-up at the top. And the pop-up has undo, redo, cut, copy, and paste. So there's another way to get to cut, copy, paste, and undo and redo is just hold 3 fingers somewhere on the screen and you've got it. Okay, I think I covered most of the things that I wanted to cover. I'm sure when I log off, I'll think of something that I didn't. If you have any
Actually,
questions.
Jake, there's quite a few questions in the chat. So do
Okay,
you
let's
want to
go to-
move to that? And I can read them to you?
Yeah, I don't have them because they chatted them to you, I guess.
Right, right. But I can go back and start.
Yeah, why don't you do that, please?
Okay. The first one was can't figure out how to do a folder.
Oh, how
I
to
think
do,
that came in twice.
okay, how to make a folder. So you go back to this folders list, which, and if you can't get there, just tap in the upper left corner until you get to this list of folders. And then at the bottom left, you see there's this little folder with a plus in it. And if you tap on that, it lets you create a new folder. You give it a name and type in the name and hit the save button. And so I'll say new, I'll call this one new folder. And I'll hit save. Okay, and there it created the new folder right here. And if you edit, if you go up here and tap edit, now I can move the folders around because new folder is right here at the top, and maybe I wanted it under new, so I can drag it by dragging that little 3 lines on the right and put it where I want it. So new folder, I'm going to put it down here at the ends. You can sort these any way you want. There. Okay, so I just put new folder. There's nothing in that folder. I'm going to hit done. There's nothing in that folder. But now I could create notes in it by going down here to the bottom and creating a new note in the new folder. So this is new note. And oops, it's not a note. No, it's a note. Okay, so now in my new folder, I have a new note. There it is.
How do you name the folder?
I named the folder when I went down here to create it. When I went down here and I created the new folder, it asked me for the name. right up here. So I type the name of the folder that I want. Now, if I want to rename the folder, this is a new folder. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to tap on the new folder, and I'm going to tap on these little dots over here, and it says rename. So this is, I'm going to rename it to new folder now. Now it's called new folder now. Okay, and if I want to delete it, I can tap here and delete the folder. And it says any notes in any subfolders will be deleted. Well, I only had that one note that didn't have anything in it, so I don't care. So now that new note that I created for you is gone. So the way you do it is go to the list of folders. And if you're in a notes like here, then you have to first go up to the top left where it says folders and tap that so that you get to the list of folders. Now when it says folders up here, yours probably just says notes. You only have one that says notes and not all this other stuff. But you can create a new folder by going down here to the lower left and tap on the plus and create that new folder. Give it a name, and then it'll be in here. And then you can edit up here by move the folders around in any order you want. So you have complete control over that. Hope that answers that next question.
Yeah, I think it does.
Can I add to that? When I go down to the new note, new folder, it gives me an option to put it in iCloud or on my iPhone.
I would put it in iCloud and enable your iCloud notes. If you go into your settings and you go all the way up to the top, where here it says your name and Apple iCloud and so on, tap on that and go down here to the iCloud and then enable all of these things here. Turn these all on because that'll save all of this stuff in iCloud. So you want to save your contacts, your calendar, your reminders, your notes, your messages, and so on. That gets all saved in iCloud. So if you ever lose your phone or you want to go to your Mac or PC and see the same thing, see your notes, see your contacts, see your calendars, you can do that. If you just keep the notes strictly on your phone, then it won't save them to the cloud, and you may regret that if you ever lose or damage your phone. So I would recommend that you save all your notes to the cloud and keep them there. So when you create the new folder, do it on the cloud. It'll still be on your phone, but it'll also be on the cloud.
The next question is, does the scan feature work only in notes?
Yes. But once it's in the notes, you might be able to copy it and put it someplace else. Like we could probably send it to somebody. However, if you want to, yeah, I think it'll only work in notes. But let's see. If I go here to examples and find that here and tap on that. Okay, so now I've selected this. I went to the note itself. Okay, and there's the document. I tapped on it and opened it up so I can read it better. And if I go up here to the share button on the upper right corner, now I can email that note to somebody, and it converted it to a PDF. So you can send it as a PDF. So that's a neat way to make PDFs, is scan it to notes and then share it with somebody, and it'll create a PDF of that note.
Yeah, I was the one who asked that question, Jake, because I do try, when you pointed out, when you're trying to take a photo, if you're just taking a photo and you hold it up so that it's aligned properly, you get shadows or you get glare. But so yeah. I like that feature that it writes it for you.
And the other thing is photo may take up more space, or I don't know, it may take up more space than a PDF. If you want to, if you want to create documents as a PDF, then I suggest you use the scan feature in the notes, and then you can email it or send it someplace else. You can even save it to the Books app. So let's say you scanned a bunch of, let's say I wanted to save this to the Books app. So I tap that and I hit the send to, and I go over here and I tap down here to the Books app, and I say save it in Books, and it'll actually create a entry in Books, and there it did. So now if I it's in my Books app. And let's see if I go back here. There you can see it gave it a name. Oops, right there. And put it in my Books app. And now it's there forever as a PDF. Well, it's not there forever because I'm going to delete it from there. But remove. Okay. Remove everywhere. Okay. Delete. Okay. Now it didn't delete it from the note that I created it from. It only deleted it from the iCloud. I didn't want it to save it in the iCloud again. It's already there from the note. So yeah, this allows you to, let's say that you don't want to send all your tax documents to your accountant for tax season, so you can use the scan feature, scan them into notes, and then take that PDF and email it to your tax accountant. And that's one way to scan lots of documents in one fell swoop. So that's using the scan feature instead of the take a picture. So if I wanted to add something else down here, and I go to the camera app, okay, I have two options. Three options. I can choose a photo from my Photos app. I can take a picture. That's just taking a picture. That won't square it up and that won't do all that fancy editing. Or I can scan the document and that cleans it up, squares it up, allows you to move the four corners and edit it properly. So that's the preferred method if you want to create PDFs. Any other questions?
Oh, there's a lot of questions in the chat, and I'm not sure exactly what Nancy Siegel wants to know. Do you want to unmute? You're unmuted. Do you want to ask your question? It was about the
Yes, so it was drawing. I wondered, I guess you touch the little pencil icon or and make your color, but how do you draw your circle? Do you do it with your finger on your screen?
Yes.
You don't hold any of those pencils or pen icons. You just go to the screen and make your circle.
Yeah, see, when I tap on it, you notice that whatever one I tap on sort of jumps up.
Uh-huh, yes.
Subtle. Okay, well, that means that it's selected. It's kind of subtle. It's not real obvious. So you select the one you want and go over here and select the color and then hit the little X down here. And now you can draw your whatever you want to draw. Oops, let me move this up. Okay.
You had to hit a little X, you said, before you could draw it? Was that what you said?
When I hit the color, the color thing popped up here, and I'm going to close that color pop-up, I go over here to the X.
Oh, okay, yes, okay.
By the way, while you're in colors, you can either you can choose colors from the spectrum, or you can choose colors from RGB slider. So if you want to create your own color using RGB colors like that, and you can see what the color looks like, or you can just use the grid and select from the grid, or use the spectrum by selecting anywhere in the spectrum here, sliding back and forth. And you can see down at the bottom, it's showing what the color is that I'm selecting. So there are lots of ways of creating a color, more than you ever wished you had. And here are the primary colors down below. So if I just want pure green, I'll just tap on the green. And you can change the opacity so you can make it so that other things below it will shine through as well. So if I wanted an oval or like that, if I hold my finger on it, it becomes a perfected oval as opposed to a sloppy oval like that, or a circle. Just hold your finger on it. It'll perfect it, as we say.
Okay, thank you.
okay. We have a bunch of other questions. The next one is, how do you get to the sort option again?
Which option?
Sort, S-O-R-T.
Oh, sort.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, how do you get to the sort? So you have this list of notes, and if you tap in the upper right corner, does that give it to you? Yeah. So you tap in the upper right corner and you get sort notes, and then if you tap on that sort notes It's right here, sorts notes. Okay, and tap on the up arrow, down arrow. And now here are the different ways I can sort. I can sort by title, and I can select A to Z or Z to A. I can sort by the date edited or the date created. And my default is the title. So I could change that to some other, I could change it to date edited, for example. It would sort all the notes by date. And you can change it back and forth. So if you wanted to see something you did recently and you can't find it, just do date edited or date entered, created, find it, and then go back to sorting it by title.
Okay. We have two questions about shortcuts. One is, where do you go to do the shortcut? And the other one is, what if the shortcut always pops up and you don't want it?
Okay, both good questions. Okay, so the two ways to get to the shortcut. So here I just have a blank note. So one way to get to the shortcut is to go down to your keyboard and hold your finger on the emoji or the globe option, depending on what you have down here. You may have a globe or you may have an emoji. If you hold your finger on it, then you see it says keyboard settings right here, and tap on that, and it takes you to text replacement, takes you to general keyboard text replacement. Or if you don't know how to do that or forget that, if you go to settings and then go down to general and go to keyboard, it takes you to the same place. And then you tap on text replacement and there you are. And the way you do it, as I said, I'll just review, is you tap the plus button, create the phrase that you want. So if I wanted my website, I would type in the whole website. I have a shortcut for it, so I can use the shortcut to create the shortcut, which is kind of cheating, but you get the idea. And now I can put in whatever shortcut I want to allow me to get that. And make sure you hit the save button up here, because if you don't hit the save button, then it won't work. It won't have saved it. So if I wanted this to be, website or my website, my web, I could use that. So every time I type the word my web, I would get that website. Well, I'm not going to save that one, but that's the idea. Okay, and the other thing is, what if you don't want it? So I'm typing away here and I type, JWI, and I don't want it. Well, you notice I have two options. If I tap the space bar or tap the middle button here, it'll give me the shortcut. But if I don't want it, I want it just exactly what I typed. Just tap over here and it won't give you the shortcut. It'll give you exactly what you typed. So if I want, for instance, Newport Beach, I want NB as Newport Beach. If I tap the space bar, I get Newport Beach. Or if I tap the middle button here, I'll get Newport Beach. What if I want to say note well, note bene? I want NB to be NB. So I just go over here and tap, where my little cursor go? I want to tap this NB down here. And if I tap on that, it doesn't change it. So you're not locked into your shortcut if you don't want to use it in some occasions.
Okay, let me go to the next one. We learned how to make a folder. So is it possible to search inside a password protected note? Is it possible to search inside a password protected note?
That's a good question. I'll tell you in a minute, because let me go here and we'll see search. Let me see Avalon. I know I've password protected. Yes, it'll show you. Yeah. I have the information on the cars. I don't know if it'll search on something that's in the password protected part or not. But I think it will. It just shows that you notice there's the two that it found that are locked are the first ones it shows. So yes, it will find things in the password protected as well.
Okay. And then the next question is, some of my notes are on iCloud and some are on my phone. How did that happen? I think you explained this, but I'm not sure.
Well, I didn't really explain it, but it's just that whatever you happen to have on your had set up. So what you could do is, I think you can just move all the notes. Let's see, if you had some notes, I don't have any in there, but if you had a bunch of notes, can you select them all? Let's see, notes. Select notes. Okay, if I hit select notes, it gives me the option to select notes. So if I tap on all of these, so if I tap, and then select all the ones and hit move down at the bottom, so down here at the bottom, it says move. And if I tap move, I can move them all from notes to iCloud notes. So you could create folders in iCloud notes and move all the ones that are in notes out of that into iCloud notes. So that's how you would do that. So you can select all the notes that you want to move.
Okay, I think there's one more question. It's about where to find the handout.
Oh, the handout, if you go to my website, and it was this one here, jakeair.weebly.com. If you tap on that, it will take you to the website. This is the phone version of it. And if you tap on the iPhone classes button, which looks a little different on the computer than it does on the iPhone, but it'll say iPhone classes, something like that. Tap on that, and then it takes you to my website. And if you go down, and here is the series that we're talking about, iPhone tips and secret series. And this is the Notes app, and then tap on this handout button right here, tap on handout, and it'll open the JPEG, and then you can print it. And if you have a printer, an AirPrint printer, you can actually print it right from your phone. So if I tap on this and go down and hit the print button, I can actually print right from my phone to my printer. In fact, that's how I printed this one. I just printed it from the phone, bypassing my computer. I very seldom use my computer anymore. I do use my computer to create these handouts because they're kind of elaborate to do on the phone. But other than that, I use my phone for mostly everything else.
Okay, and one last question, which we touched upon, but I think we need more information. Can you create notes on your computer, move to iCloud, and then to the phone?
Yes, you can if you've enabled iCloud.com on your PC, or if you have a Mac, you should have a companion Notes app on your Mac, and that just syncs automatically. But if you have a PC and you go into iCloud.com and set up your iCloud account once, put in your Apple ID and password, then every time you go to iCloud.com, you'll see lists. It'll sort of look like your iPhone. It'll show you the various icons for notes, contacts, calendar, and so on. And if you tap on that, it opens up a website that's synced with your phone, so you can find all of your notes on the computer as well, and then copy and paste them into Microsoft Word, for example. And that's what I do if I want to move something from one to the other quickly. The other thing you can do is use the app called Dropbox. And if you have Dropbox on your phone and Dropbox on your PC, then everything that's in Dropbox on your phone will automatically be in your PC, in your file system. And that's the best way, I think, to sync things between your phone and your PC as far as documents and so on.
And we have a great big thank you to Jake, because this was very helpful.
Thank
A lot
you.
of great
Yeah.
information. And next month, it's the calendar class on March 17th, same time, 10 a.m.
And I'm putting up here, by the way, I'm putting up my phone number, and I'll put my Gmail address. So you can text me or call me or email me on those. And it's also on the handout. So if you get to the handout, on the top left corner of the handout, you see up here is my contact information, same as I just put here. And you can email me, text me, call me, and I'll be happy to walk you through or help you with any questions you have.
That's very kind of you. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. And tomorrow we have 3 programs coming up. Women's Connection in the morning, then History of Immigration in the United States at 1 o'clock. And then at 4 o'clock, we have trivia and happy hour games. So hope to see you again tomorrow, and of course, next month at Jake's calendar class. So have a great day. Thanks for all for joining us, and
Thank
thank you a
you.
million, Jake, for doing this.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Jake.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.